Can everybody hear me? Give me a 2 if you can hear me in the chat. It's funny because I had my microphone muted, and that's why nobody was responding. But give me a 2 in the chat if you can hear me. I'm going to be talking pretty low today. So again, let me know if you can hear me. 2 in the chat. 2 in the chat. Hello, everybody. Okay, perfect. 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 Okay. Perfect. So, today we are going to dive deep into protective styles, right? Or what you guys see as protective styles. And I know that is really confusing. I know that most of the time you think that the best way for you to wear your hair is in braids and certain things of that nature, but it's really not true. Um, this isn't a trick question. Let me know. How many of you give me a 1 if you think that the best way to wear your hair is in braids or something with your hair covered, or if it's like with your hair out and down? So, number 1 is going to be braids and protective styles. And number 2 is going to be just wearing your hair down, like the way I wear my hair. Let me know, 1 or 2. And again, it's not a trick question. We are here to have this conversation. And the thing that I want everybody to get in touch with, right? The thing that I want everybody to center with is today we are going to be having a common sense based conversation. I'm not going to talk at you. We are going to just look at definitions. We're going to look at things, what things are. And as we do that, I want you to do your own process of elimination. And I want you to use everything for yourself, right? I really, really want you to use your brain for yourself. Out and down is better, but cornrows are convenient. Yes. And the thing is, if we really sit here and think about it, the things that are most convenient for us are the things that we really shouldn't be doing. For example, if you are in a grocery store, the things that you shouldn't be eating are the easiest things for you to get to. The things that you should eat and the things that are good for you, it takes you a whole lot longer. But I digress. I want us to get into this. So, what I want you to do is do me a favor and look inside of the description box of this video and in the pinned comments in the chat if you want to follow along with me on the screen as we go. Again, I'm talking low because somebody's sleeping here, you know? So, so again, when we are talking about braids and protective styles, most of you are under the impression that you are doing the best thing for your hair whenever you have your hair in a protective style. But the truth of the matter is, if we really, really, really think about it, how much are you really, really protecting your hair? And what are you protecting your hair from? And moreover, what does your hair actually need? Because whether most of y'all want to admit it or not, and remember, this is not a place for people who are easily offended. If you are new here to my channel, I am coming in love, but I'm very blunt and I'm not going to mince words. So, if you are a person who is doing braids and protective styles, you are under the impression that you are giving your hair what it needs, but that's not true. Let's actually talk about what the hair and scalp actually need. And then let's unpack how protective styles fit into what your hair shaft actually needs. Now, braids often are called protective styles, right? But let's keep it real. They're only protective under certain conditions. If done wrong, they can do way more harm than good, especially to your edges and your scalp health. So, how can braids protect your hair? Let's do the positive first, right? Braids do offer real benefits, which installed maintenance is really, really good. It's really, really easy for you to have the proper maintenance for a short period of time, but it has to be followed properly. Number one is low manipulation. Since your hair isn't being styled or combed daily, it's less prone to breakage. And so, for that reason, when you have braids, your ends are also tucked away. And so, braids shield the oldest and most fragile part of your hair, the ends, from friction and exposure or weathering. But remember, that's only if you keep it in for a certain amount of time. Once your hair starts getting frizzy and starts poking out the braids, it's no longer a protective style. That's why you're only supposed to leave them in anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. But most of you guys leave your protective styles in for about 3 to 4 months, 5, 6 months. And I know a lot of people want to take offense to it, but I stood behind the chair for over a decade. The majority of women who wear braids kept them in for a minimum of 4 to 5 months. But the last pro was better length retention because you have a less breakage more often, which means better retention and of your hair that's growing naturally. But remember, everybody's hair is growing automatically. Because you don't understand the science of the human body, you're under the impression that the reason that your hair is growing is because it's in braids. No, everybody's hair is going to grow, but the group of women who get protective styles and they swear by protective styles are also the group of women whose daily practices are those that cause the scalp and the hair shaft to be widely manipulated, causing breakage. So you have to think about it. Why would you retain length if every time you comb through your hair, you have globs of hair in a comb? Don't you understand that that's the hair that was supposed to be in your head? So, before I keep moving along, can everybody still hear me okay? I know I'm talking kind of low still. Let me know if everybody can still hear me okay. Two in the chat. Okay. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So, if you want these PDFs, right? If you want these graphics, these infographics, then make sure you go over to the link in the description box. It's my free group, and within the free group, I will go ahead and add these PDFs for you guys to have for yourself because obviously I'm not going to charge you for them because you've already seen them here, right? So I want you to whenever you are putting oils and butters and greases on your scalp, right now you only see yourself as the woman in the video that you're following. But if you see your follicle in your mind's eye every time you're putting oils and greases and butters on your hair, things will be a little different. So this is folliculitis, right? This is what folliculitis looks like. And give me two, no, give me a four in the chat if you ever went to get braids or anything like that before and they were way, way, way too tight, and you started to notice little white bumps along your hairline or maybe in your scalp. Let me know if you've ever seen that. Well, my love, that is folliculitis. So when you have an overabundance of scalp oil or greasy products, or if you are a person who is always oiling and greasing and buttering the scalp along with the tension from braids, and when you think about it, it goes hand in hand. The majority of you get braids put in your hair, and then after you put those braids in your hair, you load the scalp and the follicle up with oil. Like, it's crazy. Two of the worst things that you can do to your hair, the majority of Black women do on a regular basis and call it protective styles. Okay? So, when braids stop being protective, when does this happen? So, let's talk about tension, weight, and poor care. This turns braids from protective to damaging. And the thing is, when y'all are constantly doing all of these things to try to prolong your braids, they are no longer protective styles. At that point, your hair is just holding on to extra weight. You've made your hair into a bag lady. Okay. So, um, let's unpack it. Tight braids cause tension, right? So, if you feel pain or bumps on the scalp, that is not hair growth. That's inflammation. And so this can lead to folliculitis, which, like I just showed you, is an infected follicle, or even traction alopecia, permanent hair loss from the pulling and tugging, right? This is one thing that the majority of Black women have. The majority of Black women have traction alopecia. You guys all have thinning edges because you believe that you have to have a bunch of edge control on. You want to put your hair in tight, tight, tight ponytails as tight as you can get it. You tie your scarf super tight and you put the braids in your hair on a regular basis. You believe that that's how you keep your hair looking good. So, yeah, that's something that I really want you guys to pay attention to. And next is too much hair equals too much weight. When you guys see some of these videos and these women that have braids that are like 30, 40 inches long, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the majority of women that get braids that are like 30 inches long have about 3 inches of hair. I'm not being disrespectful. Let's call a spade a spade. So if you have 3 inches of hair, you're not protecting your hair in any type of way. If the hair that you're putting on your scalp, the hair that you're putting in your hair to protect your hair is heavier than your actual hair. Let me know in the chat if that makes sense. How are you actually protecting your hair if the hair that you're putting in your head is heavier than your actual hair? You're not protecting your hair, you're giving your hair a full-time job. So it's way too much hair and it's way too heavy. So not only are the braids tight, but it's way heavier than your actual hair. So your follicle isn't versed enough to hold on to that much hair. So you're instantly causing alopecia, causing a tug to your roots, and this causes thinning, especially around the hairline. And lastly, there's no scalp excess. When your scalp is covered or stressed for way, way too long, it becomes dry, flaky, and inflamed, especially without moisturizing your hair properly with a conditioner after you cleanse it. Mhm. Yeah. So protective styling done right is not really a big deal, right? Because you make sure that you have braids that are loose enough to the point where it's never painful. You should never have to take pain medication after you get your hair braided. If you have to take pain medication, it's too tight. A little snug is okay, obviously, but if you have to pop painkillers, like I said, that's if something's not right. Next up, you need to keep it light. So don't let the person who's braiding your hair put 27 packs of braiding hair in your head. And I know it looks cute on the video, but baby girl, if you only have 3 to 4 inches of hair, don't try to get 38-inch braids. I know you want to see yourself with long hair. I know you want to picture that. Don't do that. It's not how are you protecting your hair by making it hold on to something heavier than it? Like I'm serious in the chat. Let me know. Does that make sense? We're not even talking about science right now. We're talking about common sense. Lastly, give your scalp a break. Give your hair a break. Take a rest period between styles because the majority of people who wear braids, as soon as you take them out, you get them put back in. And then you're putting oil and grease and butters on the scalp. You believe that you need braid spray. Nobody in the chat can tell me what braid spray actually does for your hair besides put a bunch of different oils and water in your hair. Literally, there's is no point. Now, braids can help you reach your hair goals, right? If you have a really good set plan and you're not trying to keep braids in your head for 6 to 7 months and you have a set pattern that you're going to do, then okay, then it's good. But They aren't a magic solution. You need a plan before you get them. And if they're too tight, too long, or too heavy, you're not protecting your hair. You're actually punishing you for no reason. It didn't even do nothing to you. So I really want you to take a up close and personal look at what the hair follicle looks like. This is an illustration of what a follicle that has folliculitis looks like. So this is not a rhetorical question, and I'm gonna wait and ask you guys in the chat. Looking at this illustration of a follicle that has extreme inflammation, folliculitis, please explain to me how, in your mind, it makes sense to put oil and grease and butter on top of this. I'm not being disrespectful. In your mind's eye, and I'm about to go look at the chat to see who has the answer to the question. In in what way, shape, or form does this look like it's something that is going to help the hair in any way, shape, or form? You putting oil or blue magic do grow oil. I'm not being sarcastic. I need somebody to answer this question for me. Where does it make sense to put oil and grease here? All it would do is make it worse. This is inflammation. So all you want to do is clean that. You wouldn't want to saturate it in coconut oil. You wouldn't want to saturate it in almond oil. You don't want to saturate it in apple cider vinegar. All oil is going to do is feed the yeast and bacteria that cause this inflammation in the first place. You're going to make it bigger. You won't make it smaller. You're going to make it bigger. You're going to make it hurt more. You're going to make it more inflamed than it was before. Adding oil to a scalp that looks like this won't help. These are the things that I need you to get into. So when you come across the video like, oh, she's making it up, forget that. This is how a follicle that is inflamed look. Hell, if you have a bump on your face, this is how it looks. If you have a big pus-filled bump on your face, will putting blue magic on that butt make it bigger or will it make it smaller? These are the things that I want you to think about. So if you are a woman who has intense burning, itching, if your scalp is sensitive to touch, if you have pus-filled bumps in your scalp, putting oil on it, babe, isn't gonna fix it. It's not gonna make it better. It's not. And these are the things that I really, really want you to think about. These are the things that I really want you to make sense of. Moreover, let's say that this wasn't here. Let's say that this wasn't pus. Do you really think that all of that oil that you put on your scalp is filling up the hair follicle? And if it was, the way the pus looks, do you think that the hair follicle wants the oil that you're putting in? It's not a rhetorical question. The real cold hard truth about protecting your hair is really using no oils and no grease. Forget what the internet told you. Real hair protection starts at the scalp, not with butters, heavy oils, or creams, or daily product overload. Let's get into how you actually protect your hair and scalp to keep it thriving. Number one, you're going to keep the scalp clean and product free. Regardless of how you feel about what I have to say, the majority of people that are selling you hair products are selling you products to fill a need, cause and effect. They caused y'all all to have inflammation from y'all all putting all this stuff on y'all scalp, and then they're selling you more things. to slightly calm the inflammation as you continue to buy more products that fill the scalp up with things. Healthy hair starts from a healthy scalp. Sebum, your natural oil. It protects and moisturizes your hair strands. There is no need for heavy oils or grease. I don't care what you think. I don't care how much your booty itches and how much you're upset. Nothing goes on the scalp but shampoo. And if you're disagreeing with me, you're literally saying that our creator is incompetent and that our creator was not powerful enough or didn't think the creation of a Black woman enough to let sebum come down her hair shaft. And whether you want to believe it or not, if you look at the last video that I posted, the one that I uploaded this morning, I saw my hair. My hair is so freaking shiny. I put it on my daddy's ashes. I don't have one syllable of serum in my hair. There is nothing but leave-in conditioner and heat protectant in my hair. That's it. It's sebum because I comb my hair on a regular basis and I let it travel from my roots to my ends. And I also avoid clogging my hair follicles with product buildup because this leads to itching, dandruff, and inflammation, which also blocks the sebaceous gland. Y'all have dry hair because you keep putting oils and butters on your scalp. Think about how insane it is that the group of women who slather their hair in sealants are crying and complaining that their scalp isn't producing oil. I'm sorry, you're putting a sealant over the follicle. How exactly can something come out of a locked door? That's like putting barbed wire all over your house and then expecting to get out. And you have no keys. You just block everything, lock everything. Like, why can't I get outside? Oh my God. Cleanse your scalp weekly with gentle, non-stripping shampoos that are fit for your hair type and your scalp's profile. Number two, you're going to avoid daily moisturizers and overhydrating your hair. A lot of y'all aren't going to like this. I don't care because I don't, this probably is like the number two thing that irritates me that y'all do more than anything when I see women that are like, oh yeah, I do everything right. I moisturize my hair every day. I got a question. If you're one of those women who is adding a product to their hair every day, I got a question. What happened to the product that you put on Monday? You put a new product on Tuesday, but you just put that product on Monday. What happened to the product that was on Monday? What happened? Because it didn't go anywhere. The oils and the butters and the greases or the cream that you put on your hair on Monday, unless you shampooed your hair, the cream is still on your hair. So then at the end of the week, you crying and complaining that your hair is dry when you're the one who keeps putting layers upon layers upon layers upon layers of product on your hair. You do not need to put a moisturizer on your hair daily. The reason that y'all think y'all have to do that is because y'all don't follow science. Y'all follow the directions of the people who's selling you the products. Not the directions that they put on the back of the bottle that are backed by science. No. Because you shouldn't be buying nothing from nobody until you can verify all of that information. Y'all don't verify nothing. Y'all don't even read the back of the bottle of the products that you do buy. It makes no sense. Let me know in the chat. Does that make sense to you to moisturize your hair daily? Where did the last set of product that you put on your hair, where did that go? It's still there. You're just layering product on top of your hair, and then at the end of the week, you crying about your hair being dry. You mad you need a moisturizer. Oh, I need a moisturizer. No, you don't. You need to stop putting, girl, that, like I said, trigger, and let's move on. Instead of daily misting, let your natural sebum do its job. The women who think that the hair don't, the body doesn't produce sebum, the women that argue with me back and forth about the scalp producing sebum are the same exact women who constantly layer the hair shaft. Y'all are constantly layering the hair shaft. Yeah, it's gonna be a little hard. Absolutely. It's going to be a little hard for your hair to be moisturized because you're constantly putting layers upon layers on the hair. It doesn't make sense. And none of you have ever really thought about it. You just get up like, oh my God, I gotta put more on. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It literally drives me absolutely insane. It'll be different if it's like, okay, I'm putting this product on my hair because I shampoo my hair every day. No. All the hell you did was put product on your hair and then put it back in the damn ponytail and then went to sleep. And now your hair all super tangled. So you're getting a spray bottle and breaking your hair off and then putting the cream back in your hair, even though you just did it yesterday. It's idiotic. And I don't care that you get offended by every little thing that I say. I don't care because somebody has to say it because talking to people sweetly doesn't work. And if I'm wrong, make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. Make you put it on product on back on your hair, even though you just put it on yesterday. You got to think about this. Y'all will go 3 months. You'll go 3 months without shampooing your hair. But every single day in those 3 months, you putting products on your hair. Oh my God. And now everybody's looking crazy that all of the people that y'all been following are going bald because y'all been following girls who told y'all not to shampoo your hair but once every 3 months, but add product to the hair every single day. And then y'all laying down on pillows. If y'all shirt is greasy, if your pillows are greasy, what the hell do you think is happening to your scalp? But we don't think about that because all we do is follow the leader without thinking. Think. Oil is a sealant. You're constantly oiling the scalp. How can anything get on your hair when you put a sealant on it every day? You hear me? Give me a 9 if it makes sense. If it don't make sense and I'm crazy, okay. People love saying that hair grows better dirty. Like, do your ass itch less when it got doo-doo in it? No, it don't. Y'all want to be dirty so bad. But let's keep going. They're good. Because I just want it to make sense. It shouldn't be this complicated. Like seriously, before we move on. I'm not piling on no information that's crazy, right? What I'm saying isn't stressing you out or like, oh my God, how do I put this information together? It's like, oh my God, that's common sense, right? This is dumb. And the reason that I have conversations like this is because I know how smart and intelligent a lot of Black women are, but y'all are following dummies and it's making y'all look dumb. Feel how you feel about what I gotta say. Feel how you feel. That's stupid. So not wash your hair for a month, but add products to your hair every day. Is there imaginary person that comes around with an imaginary shampoo bowl that removes the product at night while you're sleeping, and that's why you got to put it on in the morning? Like, what the hell, bro? What's the joke? These are the things that I really, really want us to think about it. 100 women versus the bald hairstylist. Oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't even want to know. I'm trying to stay blessed. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to whisper like this, so I'm about to try to get through this. So again, instead of daily misting your hair, let your natural sebum do its job. Let me ask you something. Because the sebum that's coming out of your scalp is not an oil, it's a wax, right? So have you ever seen wax stick to a surface that's wet? It's not a rhetorical question. I need a yes or a no in the chat. Have you ever seen wax stick to a surface that's wet? Yes or no? Let me go back to the chat because I don't want to be in here talking to myself. I don't. Have you ever seen wax stick to a surface that is wet, soaking wet? Okay. So, for the women who think that Black women can produce oil, right? And for all of the Team Natural girlies who walk around with spray bottles or who use braid spray on their hair all the time, or you just constantly spraying your hair with products that are water-based. Can you please explain to me how sebum is going to be on your hair shaft when it's a wax? And we can all agree that wax and water don't mix. So can you please explain to me how a woman who walks around with wet hair all the time can expect her hair to be moisturized naturally from her natural sebum? Can you make that make sense to me? You can't, because it's scientifically impossible. Wax doesn't clean to water. It doesn't. And you know what else wax doesn't clean to? Oil. Hmm. These are the things that we have to think about that we don't think about. These are the things that make Black women look ignorant to the outside world. You cry and complain that your hair is dry, but you walk around with wet hair. And everybody else on the planet knows that sebum is a wax and that wax and water don't mix. Everybody else on the planet understands that oil is a sealant. And if you're going to seal something, nothing else is going to be able to touch it. Seeing deep conditioner or just 10 minutes. I have a video on deep conditioners versus deep conditioners. I'll put it in the chat when we get done. It's like oil and water. It don't mix. It's the same thing. But nobody's thinking about that because everybody wants to be the next person that goes viral. Everybody want to be the next viral chick that's making a viral video. Look at what I can do to my hair. And none of y'all think. I don't care nothing about YouTubers that do none of that stuff. I'm speaking to women who are ready to start thinking for themselves, who are not easily offended. You blame you. Blame yourself. If your hair is dry and you've been walking around doing wash and goes, blame yourself. Because you learned in freaking kindergarten that water and oil don't mix. So you wetting your hair down and putting oil on it and then thinking that it's going to get moisturized and you were following that. You cannot blame them. You blame yourself. You weren't thinking. You. Give me a 6 in the chat if I have some accountable women. Do I have any accountability in this room? Or say I'm accountable. Yeah, I got it. It was you right. I got it. But nobody wants to be accountable. We're like, they made me do this. They made me do. Nobody made y'all do nothing. Y'all decided to forget about all of the stuff that y'all learned in school, in elementary. Water, oil don't mix. Wax and water don't mix. But y'all constantly walking around with wet hair, knowing that the sebum that has to touch your hair is wet. Does it make sense? Why do we have to argue about this stuff? So I hope it makes sense why you see me get so irritated about certain things and about certain conversations because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Only moisturize your hair if your hair genuinely feels dry. And when we say moisturizer, I think I'm not talking about a moisturizer the way that y'all are. When I'm talking about a moisturizer, I'm talking about a conditioner. I shampoo to cleanse and I put on conditioner to replenish and moisturize, to create a barrier, to cover, because I'm about to style the hair. Use a lightweight humectant sparingly, not as a daily ritual. Most of the putties and things of that nature that y'all are putting on y'all hair are humectants because that's all y'all focus on. You know why? Because that's what the YouTube girls told you to focus on. I need y'all to understand that one of the most famous YouTubers that y'all listen to, whose stuff is in Ulta, just went to cosmetology school and just made a video telling y'all to put tomatoes in y'all hair. Girl, number 3, dip the oils in grease. Your scalp is skin and it needs to breathe. To add grease and oil, it creates a barrier. It blocks the follicles, causing inflammation or even hair loss over time. Your scalp, your hair needs to breathe. Your skin needs to breathe. So when y'all put oils and butters on the scalp, it's, to me, I see it the same way. It's like you blocking your nostrils with something. Like you block all of your air passages so you can hold on to more oxygen. That's what it sounds like to me. Oils do not moisturize, they just coat. And they also attract dirt, which leads to buildup and irritation. The oils feed the yeast and bacteria on the scalp. It is a fact. Guess what? The natural oils that your body creates, you also have something called Demodex mites on your scalp, and they eat it. And all of the other microbiome that lives on your scalp, it all feeds on your sebum. You have something there so powerful, yet and still you add more oil. And all this doing is creating a barrier. That's it. You need to focus on a clean scalp, not a greasy one. But for whatever reason, we are under the impression that the more greasy our scalp is, the healthier it is. So, bacteria in the scalp, it causes balding when you do not shampoo. And the majority of women do not shampoo. For whatever reason, you believe that the more you leave your hair dirty, the better your hair is going to be. But in reality, this is how a dirty scalp looks. So when your scalp is dirty, filled with oil, you start attracting different forms of yeast and bacteria. And then once it gets a lot of yeast and bacteria, then the scalp and the follicles, they become inflamed. And once the inflammation sets in, then you have an infection of the hair follicle, like folliculitis or all of the different scalp disorders that we talk about on the channel. Then you start getting follicle damage. Then your follicle is like, okay, we're fighting so hard. I'm losing. Your follicle loses the fight. And then your hair starts to fall out. But it's a pattern. But see, the problem with Black women is y'all all want to ignore the fact that everything started from y'all not washing y'all damn hair, from y'all not combing y'all hair on a regular basis. This is where everything started, whether you want to take accountability for it or not. Everything started with your dirty scalp and the bacterial growth. Then it led to your inflammation. Then it gave you an infection of your hair follicle. Then your hair follicle was damaged, and now your hair is falling out. It's just as simple as that. What you need to do is have different gentle styling practices, okay? Don't get mad at me, but I'm going to let y'all read 4, 5, and 6 on your own. Why? Because those are things that I go over really deeply in the Growth Cycle Blueprint, so I don't want to dive too deep into that right now, but scientific education, head to hair. right? From the top of the body to the bottom. So again, I'll have all of these PDFs if you want to see them or if you want to use them to study so you'll remember these things. And make sure you check the link in the description box below and join the free group. Now, we're going to move on in a second. Let me know in the chat if y'all ready to go, if this was enough for y'all, or if y'all want to talk about this hair shaft disorder. Well, sorry, not hair shaft disorder, mental disorder. A lot of y'all are going to get upset, but this is a mental disorder, not a hair follicle disorder. But let me know if y'all want to talk about it in the chat. Say, yes, you want to talk about it, girl, or say no. Let's just go. Thank you. That was enough. Thank you. Excuse me. Are you the person who asked the question about it in the first place? It was gross, sorry. Okay. Okay, that was you. Okay. Yeah, I got you. Okay. So this here, and again, I'm talking low. I don't know if y'all can hear my husband snoring in the back, but he is. Okay. So give me two if you've heard of this hair shaft disorder before. Lord, why do I keep saying hair shaft disorder? If you've heard of this um mental disorder before. Now, the reason that I never really touched on this one is because um when it comes to trichology and cosmetology, I can't speak on dermatology because I'm not a dermatologist. There are certain areas that we just don't touch, right? There are certain things that, as a professional, I send to somebody else. So when I say that I work with doctors and dermatologists, right? And if I had a client that had this disorder, then what they would end up doing is I would refer them to a therapist. And me and their therapist will work together. The therapist is going to stop the problem. All I'm going to do is help them get a new routine to grow the hair back. But this is not a follicle disorder. This is not a scalp disorder. Okay. This is the type of, it's classified really as a mental disorder, right? It is reoccurring compulsive hair pulling, often triggered by stress or anxiety. It can cause thinning or patchy bald spots, and it can lead to guilt and distress. And you can treat this with therapy and scalp protection. Scalp protection meaning like, this is what I mean by I will work with a therapist and we will figure out like, okay, what are his or her sleeping patterns? What are the things that they're doing? Obviously, the therapist can't tell me any of the things that they talked about personally, but when they would fill out like a questionnaire before they talk to both of us, and then after they talk to both of us, and then there would be certain things that we could and couldn't share with each other, and we would share the things that we could and come up with a plan for that client. Those are things that I do right now. I don't physically do hair anymore, but I'm still in the industry from this aspect, and this is the type of work that I do. So the reason that I'm not gonna go into it like, oh, make a video for this is because this is a disorder. It has nothing to do with the scalp. It has nothing to do with the hair shaft. This isn't from an overproduction of DHT or anything like that. It is classified as a mental health condition where a person feels a strong urge to pull out their own hair, commonly from the scalp, eyebrows, or the eyelashes. It falls in the category of it falls in the category of obsessive compulsive disorder or different related disorders like that, right? So this is like a psych problem. This has nothing to do with the human hair shaft. This has really nothing to do with cosmetology. Again, where a cosmetologist comes in, I give you a regimen that makes it easier for you to A, grow the hair back, or something B that makes it harder for you to pull on your hair. For example, the majority of the clients that I would have that had stuff like this, they would be the ones that had like weaves. They will wear wigs and stuff because if your hair is under a wig, it's a lot harder for you to, pull your hair out. So, but there are a lot of other things. Again, all of those things are dependent on the client. It's based on a client per client basis because, again, this is classified as a compulsive mental disorder. So, these are the things I really hope that I'm not offending anybody. Um, so who can it affect? It normally starts in childhood or in your teen years, and it affects both men and women, more commonly in women. Now, this isn't to say that it can't start in your later, adult years and things of that nature. But again, when you cause damage to the hair follicle with pulling, eventually the follicle starts to miniaturize. It starts getting thinner and thinner, and the hair, when it grows back, it starts coming in thinner and thinner till it gets to a point where the hair shaft has been damaged too much to the point where it's not going to rejuvenate itself. So these are, I really hope, I really hope I'm not offending anybody, but the cause is not a scalp disease or a hair condition. It's based on your mental or emotional roots. It's often tied to anxiety, depression, trauma, especially childhood trauma, stress relief, or emotional regulation. And if it's often a coping mechanism to manage emotional overload, many people do it without realizing it. A lot of women that have that, they do it without even realizing that they're doing it. Most of the time, they don't even know that they're pulling their hair out until after the hair is already in their hand, right? And then the teen natural community added a additional layer of anxiety with single strand knots and all of the things because it, it gives you an excuse to be even more compulsive, right? So some of the symptoms are repetitive hair pulling, scalp brows and lashes, bald patches, tension before pulling, followed by a sense of relief. Like most people that I know that deal with this, they'll be like stressed out, and after they pull their hair out, they'll feel better. Okay. Most people are followed up with shame or like hiding the behavior, or you may like chew or even play with the hair that you pulled out. And I'm not trying to be rude or disrespectful. I really, really believe in therapy, and I believe that this is something that you do with. You truly need to see a therapist. Yes, there are women on social media talking about it, but any cosmetologist that says that she has a magic product to fix this is full of shit. I'm sorry, this is not a follicle or a hair shaft problem. This is something in your mental. And I may lose some people when I say this, but I believe that Black women have some of the most trauma, and y'all don't talk about none of it. Y'all don't deal with none of y'all trauma. Y'all just filled up with it. Y'all take it out on each other on social media and different places like that. But none of y'all actually go seek the help that you really need. And that's how you treat it. So if you have this disorder, there's not a product that I'm going to recommend to you. I recommend you to go see a doctor. Okay. The hair only grows back once the behavior stops. So you have to stop the thing that's triggering that, whatever is happening in your mental, especially if you're doing it subconsciously to calm yourself from something. Whatever caused that habit in the first place, you need to deal with that. And if you don't have anything specific, you really need some therapy because that means that whatever the issue is, you've buried it. All right. So again, therapy, especially if is something that really, really habitual, then I really recommend you get like into some support groups. There are a lot of support groups for women who have this disorder, right? And online forums are really good, just so you know, like, you're not by yourself. And in some really, really, really extreme cases, there's medication for it to control your anxiety, right? And lastly, you have different tracking tools like apps and journals and things of that nature for you to like really track your patterns and see what's causing it. Like if you have a journal and you're journaling every day and you even journaling whenever pull your hair out, then you can start tracking what's triggering you. You can be like, oh my God, that was that bald head chick Kiki. Every time I see her, I be want to pull my hair out later in that night. Like you can really start tracking it, right? So the urge to mask it is deeper, right? Hidden trauma or stress or seeing a licensed therapist is really key. And healing emotionally was leading to that. So I really, really hope that that makes sense, right? I hope that it didn't offend anybody. We are going to come back on screen. Give me a 5 in the chat if everybody is okay. It's new to you. Yeah, so I really hope that all of that makes sense to you. I wanted to really come on here and give you guys, some real life insiders. I'll take a couple of questions about what we're talking about here. Okay, about what we're talking about here, and then we'll keep it moving. Well, I'm gonna be signing off tonight. Good. I love you guys. I appreciate your explanation for sure. Study all of your videos are educational. Hmm. Yeah, but once again, it's okay, but it's not. My thing has been even in my practice or even as a scientist, if you don't look at things for what they really are, you can't fix them. So it's not. There's something mental about it. There's nothing there unless you find that it's some type of midget, microscopic somebody on your follicle doesn't like pull your goddamn hair out. It's a mental. There's nothing within your hair growth cycle. There's nothing within the human body that just causes you to pull your hair out. That's mental. So, yeah. I really hope that this makes sense. I get a lot of questions about predictive styles and things of that nature, but it's all fluff when I tell y'all, like, everybody who preaches protective styles also sells you a product to put in your scalp. Everybody who's like, girl, I tell my clients, if you've been oiling your scalp all your life and it's still dry and itchy, what exactly is the oil doing? And if your hair is still dry, what is the oil moisturizing? Oh my God, I love you. And I think because most Black women live in a fence, they can't think clearly. My grandma if your grandma put oil and greased her scalp every day until the day she died and her hair was dry, why are you following that still? My hair is never dry. Ever. Never. Like today, I'm irritated because I have to shampoo my hair again. Like I shampoo my hair like every 3 days. That's how much sebum is coming out of my scalp and down my hair shaft. My hair is never dry. If you've been putting oil and grease and butters on your scalp for years and it's still dry, if you still need it, it didn't work. Can somebody say hello in the chat if that makes sense? Make that make sense. If you've been doing something for 30 years, wouldn't you not need to do it anymore? That, eh, but for whatever reason, most of y'all use that as your defense. I've been doing this for 5 years, and if I don't do it, my hair dry as ever. That means that what you've been doing isn't working. So why are you trying to argue with me, trying to give you something that I know for a fact works? These are the things that I want y'all to think about. And these are the things that you're not thinking about when you're watching these videos on YouTube. All right? So I was gonna make a full-fledged video about it, but I just didn't really want to because I already have a live on protective styles. But before we go, I have a question. Now that we've talked about protective styles and what they actually are, let me know in the chat if you really believe that having your hair in braids and twisties and ponytails and protective styles 24/7, is that the best thing for your hair? Is that the best thing for your hair? I'm just asking a question. Yeah, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but when I go downstairs in a minute when we get down here, my father's urn is downstairs. It has his body in it. Okay. The longer you, as a black, not you, but the longer black women hold on to this baggage, oh, they called us ugly. Shut up. We are grown. And I have this intensity because I have a 13-year-old daughter. And I will be damned if my daughter grows up in a world with weak women crying about stuff that happened before they was born. It happened to our ancestors. It didn't even happen to you. It's not happening to you anymore. So why don't you do the things that they dreamed of? Instead of you doing the things that they dreamed of and doing something extra, you just gonna stay doing the same stuff that they was doing? Even though you're what their dreams are made of, it makes no sense. Like, trauma my ass. If you 25 years old, what the hell do you got trauma from slavery for? You 25. You been going to Starbucks since forever. What are we talking about? Yes. Hey boo. Just joining in, but not for long. Gotta drive home. Yeah, I'm about to go too. So, give me a 3 in the chat if this was good for you guys. I'll have one of my loud and extra lives one day, but not today. You miss yelling singing, or is this one okay? Yeah. And this is the thing, if it's oil and grease on your pillowcases and on your sheet, you think it just skipped over your scalp? That's interesting. In my 60s, and I hear you. I appreciate you. Thank you for hearing me. Thank you. Yeah, but again, I'm not trying to change your mind about nothing. We didn't even go deep. I didn't use no like scientific words. I just want today to be a day that everybody just thinks. Right? Like I just want everybody to think and have like a mind of their own. Like have a really, really set and steady way to think for yourselves. And don't get offended when I say this. Just really look in the mirror and accept the fact that none of you were really thinking for yourself. None of you were. Nobody was. Because when we sit here and we really think about it, it's like, oh my God, the stupid oil creates a barrier. oh my God, oil and water don't mix. Of course my hair is dry. I'm wetting my hair and putting oil in it, duh. But nobody ever thought about that. So can we start thinking about these things? And can y'all start holding the people that y'all are watching accountable? Because we're not doing that. Y'all just following them. Y'all hair falling out. They hair falling out. They hair getting thinner. But they like, look, I grew my hair back. And I know for a fact that a couple of them just went to a cosmetologist after they went bald and told them to stop oiling and greasing their scalp. And they stopped oiling and greasing their scalp and their hair grew back. And then they came back on YouTube and made a lying video telling y'all that their hair grew back from something else, where in reality, they just listened to the cosmetologist that they went to. So, yeah, I love you too. Make sure you have your post notifications on, because we are going to have another video coming, not this morning, but tomorrow. No, not tomorrow morning. The morning after next. Because I'm not staying up editing nothing today. But I love y'all so much. Let me know in the comments what your favorite part of this video was. And again, let me know if this was like a really easy, straight to the point conversation, really easy to get and understand, or if I confused you. Because I'm more than positive that I didn't confuse you. I'm more than positive that you're intelligent enough to know the difference between stupid stuff that people are making up and like common sense. All right. Before we go, say it in the chat for me. Wax and water and oil and water don't mix. Just real quick for me, and then we're gonna go. Yes, everybody give this video a thumbs up before you head out, baby. Thank you for hearing me without offense. Because these girls online got y'all looking special. And it's not okay for them to all be thinking that we didn't go to school. Okay? Okay. Bye, guys.